Bow Wow being in Dog Pound, he was in a clique, Dog Pound Gangsters. So what Dad's telling the truth there, he's absolutely correct. And he actually brought up Little Hershey Loaf, and that's who really was in there before Bow Wow was even there from Illegal. And Jamal Molly G was the guy who was normally with him, but Jamal wasn't really with the whole Dog Pound movement. So that's why Illegal ended up splitting up. They didn't pretty much like the terms of the album. Even though the album was produced by everybody else, the producers all made more than the rappers. So they was like, why are we gonna come together and have Dallas and Eric Sermon and everybody else that produced on the record getting more money than us? They got all the money for putting the project together. The project was hot, but everybody else was getting all the money. Jamal and Malik wasn't. And they were kind of like put together. They both was individual artists, but they thought it'd be best to put them out as a group. But they were the first ones there. Like Dog Pound was really accepting to them more than anything, but Jamal wasn't really in that fit. So he went more with Eric Sermon and Redman and Biggie and the East Coast because that's what he gravitated to. And Malik went with, he went with Snoop and them, and that's how they ended up splitting up. So Jamal wasn't really Dog Pound. He wasn't really clicked up like that with them. But other than that, they right. That was the only thing that was, he was cool with him, but he was more clinked up with Eric Sermon, who produced the first Illegal album. So Bow Wow was telling the truth about being in Dog Pound, but he wasn't in the group. He was just in the crew. Daz is 100% correct on that. So yes, you can believe Daz on that one. Him and Corrupt, absolutely, they're correct. And I was glad that he mentioned Lil Malik. It was a shame what happened to Malik, and what happened to him is the studios decided to push his project back, and he was trying to come. I mean, he was incredible. He's the one that's on Snoop album. He's actually on the record with Snoop. So he did a song with Warren G. I mean, he's Lil Hershey Loaf was supposed to come out. He was serious. Malik was the one they looked at and was like, man, this dude is gifted. This dude can flow. He can spit. And he killed that song, What's Next, from Warren G. And he had that, As Malik Flows On. So he took that sample, As Malik flows on, and they made a video for it from Malik's album that was supposed to come out, and they made it more pop. And it just did not resonate. And they just said, look, we can't put this out. Because at that time, the movement was, he's too dark skinned. So they put him since he was so dark skinned, they put him in an all white suit, dressed him up, and this was not his image. He was part of the Dog Pound. They should have just kept him Little Hershey Loaf. But, that's how it was back in those days. Things was critical. And Bow Wow was able to come out. And Bow had flow, but he had the right people around him. JD knew how to write for Bow Wow to make sure he gonna have the right, songs and everything else. And he he had all these lines, all this flow. So Bounce with Me and all these songs that were commercial, that were good. But he had so many different writers, his flow was changing, like as far as what his content was and what he was talking about. So they was like, man, this kid is young and he got a tongue on him. Like, man, this Bow Wow is something. But he just recently now, like, oh yeah, I had plenty of people writing for me. I just didn't have the time. I done a lot of stuff myself, but I did a lot of writing and I just was exhausted. And, he's making all these different reasons as to, what transpired. But the main part is that he's not telling everybody is that Malik Molly G was was writing his own stuff and spitting like a venomous machine. Shoot, he wasn't alone. Little Malik, he was vicious. Well, I know firsthand he didn't like he didn't like Bow Wow. That was another thing. Malik didn't care for Bow Wow. Malik liked people that write their own raps and can spit. But commercially, at that time, there was no internet avenue. So commercially, it was more appealing to have a Shad Moss, light skin. Oh, he's adorable. They look at somebody like Malik. Ew. That was the perception back then. It's still the perception of things today. Light is better, darker is uglier. Couldn't get the push from the studios, couldn't get the push from marketing. He had a bad team around him as far as marketing, and it's a shame because he was a much better MC than a lot of people who were adults were out there doing. That's the hard part. What would a Malik album sound like? I used to tell people all the time, like, man, where's Malik? Where's Malik? Don't even try to stand because you're no threat to me. Can't even write your own rhyme selling Jermaine's life stories. He was talking about crisscross, but JD also had Bow Wow. He was great working with kid stars. Great working for them as far as content, production, everything. So that was a much better move for him. But Dad said he the one went out there and grabbed Bow Wow. So after that, I don't know. He probably did. But on that note, though, I am out. I gotta get out of here. So y'all take care.